Joining us to discuss the water woes across the country exacerbated by vandalism of water infrastructure is Dr. Sean Phillips. He's Department of Water and Sanitation Director General. Good evening, Mr. Phillips. Thank you very much for joining us on The Full View. This particular story in the Northwest is quite worrying, but what is being experienced in the Northwest is experienced in many municipalities where we're seeing a lot of infrastructure damage, but it's said that some officials are colluding to destroy the infrastructure. Just talk to us about the water mafia syndicates, if we can call them that.
Good evening. What we do know for a fact is that there's been increasing theft of water infrastructure, particularly metal parts of our water infrastructure, such as pumps and other metal parts, motors. Those metal parts can be sold for scrap metal. Also, wiring is often stolen and the copper is sold for scrap metal. What is difficult to tell is whether it's simply being stolen by thieves to sell for scrap metal, or whether there might also sometimes be deliberate sabotage where the metal parts are being taken away, not so much to sell for scrap metal, but to make the water system dysfunctional, to force municipalities to hire water tankers. So there's speculation, and there's quite a lot of reports in the media and on social media that there are these organizations which have been termed water mafia, which may be colluding with municipal officials to sabotage municipal water infrastructure, to ensure that as an emergency measure, contracts are given to water tankers to tanker water to people when the water supply systems don't work because of parts have been stolen.
You say there may be some sort of collusion between officials and some of these water tanker companies. Have you perhaps concluded any investigation? Because in several instances where we've spoken to you, we have touched on these allegations of water mafias. So have you concluded any kind of an investigation around these sort of claims where we're seeing these water tankers being brought in and staying there for extended periods?
Well, to investigate, we need the assistance of communities. Communities need to give us information about people vandalizing and stealing metal parts from water works. We report cases of theft of water infrastructure to the police, so do the municipalities. But as I've indicated, we need more information than that. And we've been talking to the police and to other security agencies about the need for more intelligence-driven policing to try and find out whether these mafia do exist, whether they are collaborating with officials in municipalities. We do have a toll-free hotline, which is 0800200200, and we encourage anyone with information in this regard to give us that information anonymously, and we will investigate.
Now, beyond these allegations, pardon me for interjecting there, it seems, though, that water tankers have become a very lucrative business. Reports show that municipalities in Gauteng alone have spent 2.3 billion rand over the years from 2018 to 2023. That is a lot of money, Mr. Phillips. How are you looking to address at least the reliance on water tankers for extended periods?
We're not against the use of water tankers in emergency situations and as a last resort. So, for example, it's absolutely necessary for the city of Tshwane to be providing water to the residents of Hammanskraal currently using water tankers, because their water treatment works, the Timber water treatment works, is unable to produce water to the correct standard. It's been neglected for many years, and there's upstream pollution from the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works. So there's huge construction projects underway to address these problems, which are going to take several years to come to fruition. In the meantime, we are working with Magalies Water to put in an emergency supply situation, emergency supply infrastructure for Hammanskraal, and that's going to start providing water there from October, and then increasingly over the next 6 months after that. But in the meantime, Tshwane has done is absolutely the correct thing by warning people not to drink the water from the taps because it's not safe. And they're also doing the correct thing to provide people in Hammanskraal with clean, safe water from water tankers in the meantime. The point is that it should only be used in emergency situations and as a temporary measure. We don't see it as a permanent way of providing water to citizens. And we think it's completely unethical and criminal if any water tanker operators or companies or people associated with water tankers are deliberately sabotaging infrastructure to delay water being provided in the normal way so that they can provide water with their tankers on an ongoing basis.
I'm sure, though, the community of Hammanskraal cannot wait for October to finally have water. But then to the water deficit report, it's quite worrying. Should we expect the 17% deficit that we keep hearing of by 2030? Well,
that depends on a number of factors. I think that 17% deficit assumes that things will remain as they are. Demand is increasing with our population, and hopefully we'll have better economic growth, which will also result in increased demand. But we are building more dams. We have approximately 100 billion worth of projects currently in the implementation phase around the country to capture more surface water. And we are actively working with municipalities to develop alternative water resources to increase the use of groundwater, seawater desalination in the coastal areas, and water reuse in metropolitan areas. And then also we are going to be working with organized business and civil society to have much more effective awareness campaigns around the need to use water sparingly in South Africa. Our average consumption of water per capita is very high compared to the international standard, which is an anomaly given that we're a water scarce country. If we can just reduce the average consumption of water per capita moderately in South Africa, we'll be able to have enough water. Also, if we diversify the water mix and build these remaining opportunities for capturing surface water, we won't have a shortage, and we'll have enough water to meet the increasing population demand and for a growing industry.
Doctor, can you just reshare that number again to report any illegal conduct?
0800 200200.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this evening. That's Dr. Sean Phillips. He's Department of Water and Sanitation Director General.